Hi, everybody. So I have Dayna Ruben here with me today, and she does a lot of amazing things. We're going to show you her YouTube channel. And basically, she's kind of bringing birthing into the next level because it's been held back. So she's going to talk to us about her birthing experience and all the things she's doing that are basically changing the world. Hi, Dayna.
Hi, honey. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you for
Mhm.
inviting me.
I'm glad you came. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to give a shout out to Elisa because that's how we met. So thank you, Elisa.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah. So I have a platform called From Fertility to Delivery, and I started it actually back in 2019, before any sort of illness or anything like that. And I made it, just a part of my life because I had these wonderful experiences with spiritual fertility and also with childbirth. So I'm a late bloomer. I was married at 36, got pregnant at 37, and had the baby at 38. And when you maybe when you get past the 30s, you think, okay, if it happens, whatever. You kind of like put it away there, or you're like over obsessed with it. But I just kind of put it to the side. And it happened for us. My husband and I were ready to start a family. So what I was experiencing during the conception part was I was feeling a presence around me, and I knew it was like a wise presence. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know that I was experiencing spiritual fertility, but that's what was happening. And then we ended up, getting pregnant, and I was very afraid of giving birth. It riddled me with fear. And, I kind of want everyone out there to think about that childbirth experience between 1 and 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, from 1 to 10, how fearful are you about childbirth? One is really not fearful at all, and 10 is overly fearful. So,
Mhm.
what's your number? Think about that. So for me, mine was a 9. So it was just, I was overwhelmed. But I did have a grandmother, two grandmothers actually, that had passed over, but one had 9 children on the islands of Jamaica and Bahamas, and the other one had 5 children, and they were all home births with midwives, natural, no nothing, no meds. And I had that experience in my ancestry, and it was really important for me. So as we moved into the childbirth experience, my friend had done hypnobirthing. She was a yoga instructor, so she gave me some heads up, or I didn't even know it existed, hypnobirthing. So I checked out something that was like a class that was more convenient for me. It was a different modality, and it was 2 weekends, fit perfectly on our schedule. We did the class, and I worked on that. I worked on it like I was in the Olympics of childbirth, and I was going to get the gold medal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I pretty much, they teach you tactics and things to do while you're going through contractions, things like that. So I practiced all of that, read up what I needed to read up, and my husband did the course with me. So I call him my daddy doula because he was right there helping me.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it was really fun. We made it fun, really. So by the time we were ready to have this experience, we were ready. So I had, I guess I was having back labor, but my back just hurt. It was another day. And then the next morning, my water broke at like 5 something in the 5:30ish. And by 8:12, our baby was born. So that was like right under 3 hours of birth. And that's actually what you learn in the bliss-born hypnobirthing is to 80% of the women that give birth through the hypnosis, it's under 5 hours because we actually
Wow.
train that. Yeah, we train it in the subconscious mind. So yeah, we ended up, and that was within that under 3 hour period. And there was a 40-minute car ride, so it wasn't like I was moving around and all of that. We were actually trying to get to the hospital, things like that.
Hmm.
And one of the best blessings, other than having a wonderful baby in my arms, was that I was able to manage it. And also my our son, he was born on the same day as my grandmother, and she would have been 100 years old. And she had just passed away. She was 97 when she passed. So it was still really fresh for everyone.
Mm.
And that was a sign from spirit that she was working with me. She was helping me. She was right there with me with the birth. So that was wonderful. And then I had we like 19 months later, we did it all over again. We had another boy, and he came. But now after that experience, I was like, yes, now I need to have to have a home birth because I can, I can deal with these sensations and I know what I'm doing. And we
Mhm.
planned a home birth, but he came 6 weeks early, and the midwife, her hands were tied. She couldn't really do anything. So right before we were leaving to go to the hospital, I was kind of upset because I didn't want another hospital birth. I wanted to have my home birth in water with the twinkly lights and all of that. We didn't have time for that. He came under 2 hours, and I was basically on my hands and knees by the door, and he came.
Oh,
So while we were waiting for the fire to come, my husband was on the phone with 911, and we captured all of that as a recording, and I was able to give it to him for his Father's Day. So that's on my YouTube channel also.
wow.
And yeah, and there was another spiritual birth where the spiritual connection to from a conception standpoint. So I started doing all this research. I didn't know what to call it. I didn't have any experiences on my own. I knew we had that we planned our birth before we came to Earth. So I knew that part, but I didn't know, what it was called, why we were doing it, what is this? So I started, as I was doing my research, I found out that there is such thing as spiritual fertility. You could also call it quantum fertility, fifth dimensional fertility. Um, let's see, conscious conception, some people call that as well.
Mhm.
And that's where the baby's soul is connecting to you before they come earthside. That could be within the same month that you're conceiving, or way before that, like your story, 9 years, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. And so I started to realize, okay, this is probably what this is called, and that I needed to do something about it. So I started getting these pushes to just start a YouTube channel. And it was kind of like, oh, I want to be on YouTube. But
I
then,
know. That's how I was too. Yeah. It's great now though. I love it. Now
you
that
get
I did
used to
it.
it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you get
Mhm.
used to it,
Yeah.
and the feedback's good, and people really appreciate you coming out of your spiritual closet to help them. So
Mhm.
really important. But I just feel that we're moving into this era and age of spiritual growth,
Mhm.
and one of the things that has been the most hindered and for lack of a better term bastardized is the fertility, pregnancy, and childbirth process. And when you look at the fertility, people go to see their doctor, they go to see their nutritionist, they go to see their acupuncturist, maybe even. But do they go to see their spirit baby? Like, are they connecting with that spirit that's coming earthside to connect with them? That's the first thing on the list when it comes to
Mhm.
quantum fertility and the fifth dimensional fertility. I was reading Lori Ladd's book, The Divine Design, and it has a whole section in there about how our fifth dimensional bodies, we connected energetically, like husband and wife, or male, female, whatever it looked like back then. They connected energetically, and they created a space, and they created a call out to the spirit baby. That spirit baby would come depending on who had a good match, they would come and connect. And that's when the conception would occur. And basically, conception looks like, from an energetic level, it looks like a goblet or a chalice or a grail. So
Mm.
you have the father, and they create like a conception cradle, basically. So just like this
Yeah.
could also be the Ace of Cups, I was thinking, because that's a part of fertility. I think all these clues are telling us that's what's happening. So you have the conception cradle, and actually is created when you are conceiving. So right after you conceive, you create this space for the spirit baby to
Mhm.
rest in. And that's when they start to connect. And that first 3 months, it's crucial. And for both births, I didn't tell our family members anything that we were pregnant. I told my sister, and she's like a lock. She's like a vault. She didn't tell anybody anything.
Right.
Yeah, my husband, my husband told his brother, and he didn't say anything either. So it was perfect. And then after the 12th week, then we were just like, okay, we'll tell people. And I think the spirit baby wants that time because they might want to opt out, and that's a
Mhm.
miscarriage, and it's really sad, you know. And I give my heart out to all those mothers and fathers to be that have had those experiences, because they're not easy, but they're just not ready. The spirit baby, it's hard. Earth is hard. It's people call it for a planet, and it kind of feels like it, you know, when you're from another place.
Mhm.
So the conception cradle is a part of what I created in my spiritual fertility class to explain that part of it, explain the chakras, the kundalini. There's a lot of blocks that are created with fertility. Also, when I started with the fertility process, I realized that we were saying trying to conceive, and I realized that that was actually blocking our fertility.
Mhm.
That phrase is spellcast. That
Yeah.
word trying, yeah. That word trying is a weak word, and it was put into the English language because it's one of those weak words that puts you on a hamster wheel of energy, and it
Mhm.
never gets you to your final destination. So words like trying, wanting, choosing, wishing, hoping, all of those words, coulda, shoulda, woulda, all those words are spellcasts. And we don't need to be using them when we are trying to, or when we're like purposefully getting towards to creating a family. So we started saying practicing towards pregnancy. We started saying, you know, just having fun. And that changed the whole energy dynamic around what was going on. So that's really important. That's the Hegelian dialect, which is problem, reaction, solution. How do you create a multi-billion-dollar infertility institution? Well, you start by telling people, say, trying to conceive, and
Mhm.
that then it starts infertility. They can't get pregnant, and then they rely on science, which is not a bad thing. If you want to do that, fine. But it needs to change
Right.
basically. So
It's
starting
not
with
all
the,
there
yeah,
is, that's for sure. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, so with the babies, with the souls that are coming in, they're also helping with the body, like create the little body that they're going to be in. And sometimes things are not totally kosher with what they want. So they will actually tell the body to go, and then they'll ask, they want another body to be created. And sometimes that means that something needs to go on, like more nutrients need to be introduced, different kinds of things, but don't feel like you did something wrong.
Mhm.
It's just a chance to start over with that body, basically with another body. Because the soul is not really living in that body until the last trimester.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're just kind of hanging out with mom, and with me, I was hanging out with dad. I was like,
Yeah.
where's mom? Find me a mom. So, and I don't really remember that, but he does. So, and another thing is the trauma that people have experienced has begun with birth. So, what you were able to do was get rid of that birthing trauma. So, that
Mhm.
was massive for your children.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, we all know, you know, speaking to your audience, you know that once there's trauma, there's a tear in the energy, and then
Yeah.
the lower energies are able to hook into it. So I think what the inorganic ones have figured out over time, over the past 100 years for sure, is to create a lot of fear with that, those aspects. So a lot of women, you know, that 1 to 10 scale that I asked everyone to look at, you don't even know why you're afraid of birth. I was speaking to someone that was 26, and she's like, I don't even know why. I don't want to do it. And what I realized is, you know, being a student of Dolores Cannon's and also learning about hypnobirthing, is that it's a subconscious thing. So you're 14 years old, you watch a show or a movie where the woman is like freaking out and she's screaming her head off and she's giving birth. And that gets stored in the subconscious mind. And until you unprogram that and you wipe away the cobwebs in that subconscious mind and change that memory into a positive memory, or do something like hypnobirthing classes that helps you clean that out, it's going to get stuck there and you don't even know it's there. And then the labor day comes and you're blocked. I always say that birthing, it happens in between the ears, not in between the legs, because your pituitary gland, it's actually creating oxytocin, and the oxytocin is a love hormone. It's around on Valentine's Day, your wedding day, but it's also a big factor when you actually give birth. And the way to create more oxytocin in the brain is to be calm, to be relaxed. And, with the hospital birth, when I came in, I was so calm and relaxed. They were looking at me, asking me to, write paperwork and sign my name here. I'm like, no, he's coming. And they didn't think I was 10 centimeters dilated, but when they checked me, I was. So we had to rush to the delivery room. So things like that, you have to learn that as you go in. So those tears are there, and then they get imprinted at birth. So we are imprinted at birth with astrology, with hip the human design, rave charts, if you know about those modalities.
Yeah.
But we're also imprinted mentally and physically and emotionally, and of course spiritually. So a very calm birth creates a very calm baby. A traumatic birth, unfortunately, creates maybe like a colic baby. And one of the reasons, other than, I'm the mom, so of course I'm going to say my kids were really calm, but my firstborn, we put him in daycare after 3 months because I had to go back to work. And when I picked him up, the ladies there, they were like, "Oh my goodness, your baby's so calm." Like, "Oh, we wish we had 25 of him." I was like, "Thank you," because he was imprinted with a very calm, relaxed, very conscious birth.
Yeah.
And that was
It's like,
that
this
I
is
knew
how
I
it
had to
works
get.
here.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and we also co-created the experience as well. I was I didn't necessarily want to have a 10-pound baby. I know that happens as well. That's kind of scary. But I was telling him, I was communicating with both of them before they were born. I said, stay small for mommy, because if you can stay small and we can do this together, we can have this natural birth with no meds and, no epidural. Then once you come earthside, I will fatten you up with some breast milk and we'll be okay. And that's
Right.
exactly what we did. Yeah, yeah. So the first baby was like around 6 pounds, 5 ounces. The second one was 5 pounds, 13 ounces. The second one was 6 weeks early. So that was tough. That was a preemie. And it was just, but I think that they pick when they want to be born. I don't have any control over that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
He
yeah.
wanted those like factors to come in, those personality traits. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Mhm.
he wanted certain, he's like a wizard. He's he's Pisces, Scorpio moon Pisces. So like triple water. I'm like, oh, this is too much. But he's great. And I think once you learn about all of this, the spiritual aspect of fertility, when you learn about the hypnobirthing and, even the pregnancy, being really calm during your pregnancy and really connecting, and the right food to eat. I'm not a nutritionist, but there are certain things that will help you.
Yeah. Let's show your YouTube channel.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, things will just coalesce and become a little bit easier.
Mhm. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I won't play anything because it'll take over the mic, but you've got a lot of cool stuff here, and it helps people with other, with things that they're doing. Actually, let's go to your actual channel, because that was some other people's stuff. So I think it's amazing that you've done this, and go subscribe, you guys, like, especially if you're thinking about kids or you have kids around. Right now we're in a time where it's, we're bringing in all these big beings here to help. And a lot of us have already come in, but they're coming in droves right now to experience ascension. So give them a good start.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
really they want that firm foundation. They're very strong. I feel like a line of them sometimes just like pushing me to keep doing more and going and going. I'm a part of Connecting Consciousness, so I did already sign up for a humanitarian project through that modality.
Awesome.
And then, I got some ZAM on my own just in case I needed it. I don't know if I need it or not, but
It's good to
but
have it.
yeah,
It really is.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, but this
Yeah.
is not just a business, it is my humanitarian project. And I agree with you. I've heard you, honey, on some of your videos saying don't wait. Like what are we waiting for? Are we waiting for a rollout or an invitation to have a meeting with someone that's going to give us money? And that's not really, we don't need to wait. Like if you're helping like a home for a homeless shelter, I understand the waiting aspect of that, but put out your intention, create a free Facebook page or
Yeah.
a Instagram page, yeah, and just blog if you have to. You don't need a
Right.
website. Yeah.
There's always some place to start with like no money, basically.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely.
and that's kind of how we created the school. That's how you're doing. I'm assuming you didn't put in a pile of money to start your business.
No.
You just started, and we'll have your information below as well for your website.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you do on your website. What are people going to expect to see there?
Yeah, so basically, I have my Blissborn hypnobirthing course on the website. It's an anytime course, so it is virtual, so you can take it anytime. And then I also offer um, the phone calls and unlimited emails just to get you through all that whole process. And that's been really good, especially for folks that don't even live in the United States, because that's where I live. I
Mhm.
have a couple cousins that I've helped them, and they live in the Bahamas, so that was wonderful.
Oh, nice.
So the link is there to sign up, and I kept the price really low because it is an online class and it is recorded. So that's very helpful. And I'm
Mhm.
also working on a spiritual fertility course that helps everyone at every level, no matter where you're at, whether you're like thinking about having a baby, but you're not sure yet. If you've been in this, it feels like a rat race by the time you get to 10 years or more, where you've just been trying and trying. So stop saying trying, but to, get to this point where you're a mother and it's been frustrating. So working with all those levels. And I just made a video about 50 shades of fertility slash infertility. And there's so many different levels. But I think what the spirit babies want us to know is that they're there. They want to co-create with us. They want they want to be our son or daughter. Like they're not looking for other people. They're not necessarily
Mhm.
unattached souls. There's connection there. We're still calling it karma, but I know that's going to fade out eventually. But there's still some things that maybe they need to work out with us, and that's important too. But so many people they're getting communication from their spirit baby, and they're not hearing it, and they don't even know what to look for. Maybe it's a coin on the floor or a feather. Maybe it's hearing the name that you picked out on a in conversation or on a song on the radio or whatever. But they want us to start with spiritual fertility first instead
Yeah.
of physical first. And I think we're too physical, and that's very 3D, and it is what it is. That's where we've been, but where we're headed is fifth dimensional fertility, and it starts with the spirit baby.
Yeah, it really does. Because you're doing something together,
Yes.
so they want to participate in that. And it's I mean, I think it's an absolutely beautiful thing that you have tools to hear what the baby wants, what the soul wants. And these souls are huge that are coming in right now.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah.
And they need time to adjust. They need time to bring their entire essence to Earth. It could take
Mhm.
longer than the 9 months that we're used to. They could be around since childhood. Like some of your imaginary friends could have been your spirit baby,
Yeah.
which is wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
yeah.
really wild.
hmm But it's
We're
awesome.
in a whole new frontier right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, there's so many things that we're about ready to walk into, and it's just a lot of fun actually. We don't have to get so worried about things. I think that's another thing. We're going to disconnect from worrying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. There's a lot that we need to just put to rest. A lot of things that we need to know about, but then say, okay, we know about it, let's move on. And it's
Yeah.
really, yeah, important to take that high road and really focus on what we need to do with with the tools that we have. Like honestly, I feel like every other woman that started out in my process, even though I am very spiritual and I know about a lot of things like, human design and astrology and a lot of those modalities that not every person knows about, but the spiritual fertility aspect, it's that's why I picked it to be my life work. I didn't really know what I was going to be doing until later on in life. I'm definitely a late bloomer, but it's just so important to start connecting to your spirit baby if you're on that path. So I'd be more than happy to answer any emails that anyone has and connect with all of you. I really appreciate you. I sent you my link, so you have pretty much everything.
So you'll have everything will be underneath, and then feel free, to contact Dayna and start thinking about like, what would you want it to be like? What would you want it to be like? And what do you think the souls on the other side would want it to be like? Because they're coming.
Yeah, that's right. They're coming in droves.
In droves. And it's very exciting right now. I know we don't always feel like it's that exciting what we're going through. Sometimes we take it really seriously and we're getting stressed out by it. But honestly, like, this is a massive learning experience. This is the first time that we're going to ascend in our own body. So that's a big deal. That's why everybody wants to come and participate. Yeah,
it is epic. And for those of you that follow Mr. T, he did bring up the fact that we are going to have a baby boom, or he wants to see a baby boom. I didn't really know what that meant. I think he was like talking to me, like, whoa, does he know I'm listening?
Get ready, Dayna.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to be booming. Well, it's really been declining, so it is time for a boom. Yeah.
Yeah, a replenishment. And I feel really deeply that some of the souls that were in the darkness and in the the underbelly of our earth, who had short lives, they're ready to come back, not in a vengeful way, but in a clearing way, to clear some of the trauma and heal some things. And they need that beautiful space that especially that first 3 months. That first 3 months, the reason why there's so many miscarriages is that the veil has been lifted. For the past 80 years, the veil has slowly been lifted and lifted. So over 80 years ago, when a soul came through, they had complete amnesia. They didn't feel anything, any past lives, nothing. And now they're coming in and they're feeling a lot of the issues that they had before. And if we can create, with aligned chakras and a very robust kundalini, and understanding what the needs are and giving them a space to be themselves before they even come outside, I think that's going to be really important. And I think that's why my children picked me, because I know about all this stuff. I'm super woo-woo.
I think so too. Yeah, because you've got a couple of really big beings there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, they're going to do a lot of great things for the world. And
wonderful.
Yeah, whether they just sit there and create or they go out and they talk to people. Yeah. This has been great, Dayna. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, honey. Thank you for giving me this platform on your channel. Your channel is amazing. I totally have gone through all of your videos. I think right after you did the video with TBJ on her channel, and it was like I got to hear everything, and it's very consistent and wonderful. So, and thank you for giving me a platform to talk about from fertility to delivery. You bring a lot of street cred with you when you bring someone on your channel.
It's so important. I've had friends that have done things in a much different way, and I was raised with people that, my youngest brother was born at home. So he was the calmest baby. He was the best, calmest Buddha baby. So it really makes a huge difference. So I'm really glad you're doing this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.